Okay, hey guys, this is Mr. Manning. So I'm really sorry that I can't be in class today. I actually am over at the middle school observing another teacher, and unfortunately I'm going to have to do this probably a few more times, probably on Tuesdays. So on the days that I'm gone, I'm going to just try to leave you a short video to watch. If that's necessary, or if we're just working on a project, then of course you'll just have some work time. So today I wanted to do a really quick video about a few more of the things that you can use to help you choose color. These are things that we weren't able to get to yesterday. And then I also wanted to explain to you the project that I have for you. It's kind of a mini project. You're going to actually develop your own color scheme. Remember, color schemes are anywhere between 3 and 5 colors, so don't create a color scheme that's more than that or less than that. But you're going to develop your own color scheme. You're going to go to Google Images, find a coloring book page, and you will color it in with your coloring scheme. In my opinion, the best tool to do that is probably the paint bucket, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. Okay, so we've got 4 things we're going to go over. I want to tell you guys what swatches are, what Kuler is, Kuler spelled with a K, K-U-L-E-R, and then we're going to visit a couple of websites, Pictaculus and Alexi Bullock blog. So let's start with swatches. All right, so when you think of the word swatches, a lot of people think like whenever they're going to paint their house, you might go to a place like Home Depot or Lowe's or even Walmart, and back in the paint section there's usually this big area or this big display that has a whole bunch of color examples, and they're on these tiny little cards, and each card has maybe 2 or 3, 4 different colors. And those are called swatches. Basically, they are an example of a particular color. And they let you take them home, and you can like hold them up against your wall to see if you think you're going to like that color, or compare it to the objects that are in the room or to the carpet or whatever. They're just meant to be so that you can test them out. And then when you find one you like, you usually bring the swatch back into the place, and they mix the paint for you, and you go home and paint. Well, swatches in Photoshop are kind of the same thing. They allow you to save colors. So yesterday I showed you Paleton and I showed you Color Lovers, and we talked about hex codes. And I was saying that in Photoshop there are actually 6 million different types of colors. That is a ton. That's a lot of colors. So whenever you find one you like, you don't want to always have to go back and try to find it again or type in the hex code for it every single time. That would just be really a waste of time. So Photoshop came up with this idea called swatches. It's basically a way that you can save the colors that you like. So here's what I want you to do. You're going to probably already have Photoshop open. If you don't, you should pause the video right now and open Photoshop. Okay, hopefully you have Photoshop open now. You're going to go up to the Window drop-down menu, so right here, and you're going to go all the way down the list. This is in alphabetical order. You're going to go all the way down the list to Swatches, and you're going to click on that one time. All right. Now, on your screen, your swatches might look a little bit different than mine. Try to move these so you can see it. But here are my swatches, and yours are probably a whole bunch of different colors because you haven't used these before, so you're getting the default colors. Basically, they are little squares that have individual colors in them. Right now, you have a whole bunch of them that you don't need, so I'm going to quickly show you how to get rid of all of those so that you can start with blank swatches, so that the only ones that show up are the ones that you create. It's pretty easy. On your swatches task pane over here on the right, you're going to click on this tiny little drop down arrow. A really, really big menu is going to pop out, and you're going to choose Preset Manager from the menu. Alright, once you do that, this window appears, and it's going to show you all of your swatches in a little bit of a larger format. You are going to delete these. You can click on any of the boxes, and once you've selected one, the delete button over here becomes available, and you can click delete, and it goes away. But you have a whole bunch of these, and you don't want to be clicking the whole time. So what I would suggest is to click on the box that's in the top left corner, hold Shift on your keyboard. So I'm going to hold Shift right now. And then click on the box that's in the bottom right corner. Now I only have 5 swatches, so I'm just going to click on this one over here on the far right. But you probably have a whole bunch, so you're probably going to be clicking down here somewhere. Once you do that, Photoshop actually selects all the swatches. It does that because you were holding Shift. And then you can hit Delete, and they all go away. So you have a blank swatches. Once you've done that, you're going to hit Done. And your swatches area is going to be clean. Now, let me show you how to get a swatch over here. Go over and click on your foreground color, the tiny little box that's on the top. Your color picker tool is going to pop up. You've used this many, many times. This is where you can change hue and saturation. And choose a color that you like. So I'm going to find this beautiful blue right here. Yeah, that's nice. Once you find a color that you like, so I have a color that I like. I am going to go right over here to this button, and I'm going to click Add to Swatches. When I do that, another box is going to come up. Photoshop's going to give you an opportunity if you want to name the swatch. You can call it whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. If you want to just stick with swatch 1, that's fine. Or if this blue is going to be used for something very specific, you could call it that. Once I figure out what I'm going to call it, I hit OK. My color picker tool comes back up, but I can also see that my swatch has been added over here. Now, the reason that is good for me is anytime I want to use this blue color, all I have to do is bring my mouse over here, hover above it. You're going to get an icon that kind of looks like a little eyedropper. You're going to click one time. Your foreground color is going to change to that color, and then you can use it. So, like I just did, I changed my color to blue. Okay, so that's swatches. The next thing I want to show you is called Cooler. Cooler is very similar to Color Lovers like we were using yesterday, but one nice thing about Cooler is it's already pre-built into Photoshop. So to get to Cooler, I'm going to click on my window drop-down menu again. This time I'm going to choose Extensions, and the table or the menu that comes out to the right, I'm going to click on Cooler, K-U-L-E-R. Cooler is going to pop out here from the side. You'll see that it has a whole bunch of different color schemes that either Adobe or professional graphic designers have created. I can scroll through these color schemes by using these buttons down here at the bottom. I can also search for a color scheme. Maybe I want to look for autumn colors. So I could type in autumn, hit enter, and Cooler is going to go out and search for colors that have the word autumn in them. So I get a lot of browns and yellows and oranges, kind of like the leaves in the fall. When I find a color scheme that I like, you're going to click on it. When you do, a little arrow pops up here to the right. You can click on that arrow, and one of the options is to add to swatches. Now, this is one reason I really, really like Cooler. You can actually have all of your colors go directly into your swatches. There they are, without having to go through all the hex code thing or doing any of that kind of stuff. So if you can find a color scheme in Cooler, it'll save you a little bit of time just because you don't have to go to hex codes. Once they're over here, I can, just like I did last time, I can click on any of them and then paint with that color. All right, very last thing we're going to talk about. I've got a couple of websites that I want to show you. These are websites that are posted on Edmodo, or you can also just look at the address up here. The first one is called Pictaculous. Pictaculous actually, it'll take any picture that you have saved, and it will create a color scheme out of that picture. So when you go to Pictaculous, there's going to be a bar right here, kind of looks like Google, and you're going to click on Browse. And a window is going to pop up, and it's going to ask you, well, what picture do you want to use? So these are pictures that we have used in class already, but I'm going to click on this Jamal Charles picture. Click Open. Pictaculous tells me what picture I'm using, and I'm going to click Get My Palette. Now sometimes it'll take just a few seconds, 4 or 5 seconds, depending on how fast it's processing. Once you've done that, Pictaculous actually looks at this picture. It takes some of the main colors out of the picture and creates a color scheme. Also, you'll notice right below each color there are hex codes. So we talked about hex codes yesterday. You can take these hex codes, do a quick copy and paste, take them into Photoshop, and you can have that exact color. And then once you have that exact color, you can add it to your swatches and you are ready to go. So Pictaculous is suggesting that I use these 5 colors if I'm going to have this picture. If I don't like this suggestion, it's giving me some other suggestions as well. These are coming from Cooler. We just talked about Cooler. And these are coming from Color Lovers. We talked about those yesterday. All right, finally, the very last website I want to show you is called alexibullock.blogspot.com. Alexi Bullock is a professional graphic designer. She is located in California. I've never got a chance to meet her, but I really appreciate the work that she does. She's a very talented graphic designer. One reason I really like her website is she has a whole section dedicated to color inspiration. So on her website, I'm going to click on color inspiration. And here's what she does. She goes out to everyday life. She finds things that she thinks are neat, that are colorful, and then she comes home and she creates color schemes or palettes out of them. So like for instance, she found these paintings that she really, really liked, and she created this color palette or color scheme out of it. I can keep scrolling down. Here is kind of like a crazy wallpaper. She created a color scheme out of that. Here's a picture of the beach with this really nice bright green van. She created a color scheme out of that. If you like any of these color schemes, one thing that is kind of a bummer is Alexi does not give us her hex codes. So you're going to actually have to save this picture, take it into Photoshop, and then use the color sample to sample it, and then that'll give you the hex code. Also, once you sample it, you can use your swatches to save that picture. Okay, let's talk a little bit about your assignment before I let you go. Okay, so your assignment is going to be to develop a color scheme. You can use any of the resources that we talked about in class, the ones that we talked about yesterday, Color Lovers, Paletton, or the ones that we talked about today, which would be Cooler, Pictaculous, Alexi Bullock. It doesn't really matter to me how you find your color scheme, but I want you to create a color scheme. Remember that that means that you're going to choose somewhere between 3 and 5 colors. After you've created your color scheme, I want you to add them to your swatches so you can easily switch back and forth between the colors. And then go out and find a coloring book page, kind of like this one that I've got right here. These are really super easy to find. You just go to Google Images, type in coloring book. If you're looking for something specific, you can put that in there in the search too, and you'll be able to find it. Save the picture, open it in Photoshop, and then use your paint bucket tool to paint in the picture, kind of like you were back in kindergarten. I'm going to post this one along with Dora the Explorer, Super Mario Brothers, and Mickey and Minnie Mouse on Edmodo, and you are welcome to use any of those, or if you want to go find your own, use Google Images. Okay, good luck. I'm going to be really anxious to see what you come up with tomorrow. Thanks for watching this video.